Our last presenter, and again, we're going to give information about him as well, even though we were moving in time. But this is Shuaib Abdullahi. He's also called Baba Shuaib, the correctional officer. His title of the Quran, his translation is called the Great Quran 2021 edition, 2021 edition. The title of his presentation is going to be the comprehension of the Great Quran. Shuaib Abdullahi, again, widely known as Baba Shuaib, the correctional officer, is a prominent Quranic researcher and critical thinker hailing from Accra, Ghana. Since 2018, he has been delivering impactful online lectures on platforms such as Facebook and YouTube, focusing on the guidance of the Quran. During his formative years in Ghana, Shuaib studied the fundamentals of modern standard Arabic grammar and comprehension at esteemed institutions like Daru Salaam Islamic School and Irshadiya Islamic School from 1998 to 2003. In 2010, he relocated to Finland, where he furthered his knowledge through online studies, specifically exploring the intricacies of Arabic language structures and word forms, particularly classical Arabic, Fus'ha. Through his research, he discovered the significance of understanding the various dialects and the unique nature of Quranic Arabic, which he identified as a classic form compared to modern standard Arabic and Fus'ha. Recognizing the importance of submitting solely to Allah and seeking his permission before delving into Quranic knowledge, Shuaib emphasizes the spiritual approach to comprehend the teachings of the Quran. As an author, Shuaib Abdullahi has penned notable works such as Refer to the Quran, a comprehensive guide designed to assist beginners in understanding the necessary steps and seeking divine guidance before engaging the Quran. Additionally, he authored the acclaimed The Great Quran 2021 edition, personally undertaking the transliteration from Arabic and the subsequent translation into English, ensuring accessibility and ease of comprehension. We welcome to the platform our brother Shuaib Abdullahi.
Thank you very much, Brother Talib. Thank you very much also to all the guests, speakers. I appreciate this platform, and thanks for the presentation and honor. And thank you very much from the, for the honor as well, again. Now, I have the presentation, that is the Great Quran 2021 edition. Why I chose the comprehension of the Great Quran. Now, the Great Quran, which I translated, was mainly based on the Hafs version. But why Hafs version? I'll come to that at the conclusion part. The Great Quran 2021 edition is a comprehensive modern translation with transliteration of the Arabic Quran into English. And underlined, there's a reason why I said the Arabic Quran into English. Now, mainly it is based on global English. When I say global, globish, which people can be acquainted with the language and understand it, with a focus on accuracy and readability. So my point was to focus on accuracy and readability so that my audience or the people going to approach such a translation will have the focus and attention to find the accuracy and getting acquainted with the reading aspect. It includes an in-depth introduction to the Quran. So it gives you the footnotes. So for people who have the copies of the Quran, you see footnotes, which actually gives you the context in understanding the references to the Quran, and a comprehensive index. It is an important and much needed translation of the Quran into English, which is suitable for both beginners and advanced students of the Quran. The Great Quran 2021 edition is suitable for both academic and personal study, and it is an essential tool for anyone wanting to study Arabic Quran into English. It actually presents the Arabic Quran in a unique sense and helps its reader to better understand the verses by subjects. Now, when I say subjects, I'm talking about the theme or area being discussed in the Quran. That is number one, under the umbrella of subjects. Number two, in a grammatical aspect, one of the two main constituents of a verse. If you're dealing with the verse of the Quran, by understanding the theme or area being discussed, which gives you the subjects, or with the Arabians, we say the mawdu or the topic of discussion, the grammatical constituents about which something is predicated in the Quran, which involves a necessary condition of consequence, as in what? Logic. So akal, Quran wants us to use the akal to approach it. Now, so then we go with context. Discourse that surrounds the language of the Quran and helps to determine its interpretation, which is the tahawil, which in other sense, in order to approach the Quran, one must have the knowledge of the tahawil and the tarjama to know how to translate and interpret. The set of facts or circumstances that surround a situation in the Quran or an event in the Quran, not outside the Quran. So that gives you the context, which is what? The siyak al-kalam. Then we go to the references. A short note recognizing a source of information or of a quoted passage in the Quran, which is the Quran normally gives you passages where you can make a reference in another surah to find something in reference points to the same subject of discussion. So it goes with the subjects, the context, and gives you the references. A remark that calls attention to something or someone in the Quran, because usually the Quran gives you reference to, prominent prophets, messengers, and honorable mentions, and then it calls your attention to something, be it an object, be it a location, be it an event, or be it something that people have to adhere to. So in actual sense, a book to which you can refer for authoritative facts. That is why it's called Al-Furqan. Now, in summary, we have a content, because if I give you the subject, the context, and the references, you will have a context. And what is that to talk about? Everything that is included in the Quran, and that is held as an evidence. You have a content, and which comes from the Quran. What a message of the Quran is about, the information conveyed or area of interest, which in all highlights the theme of the Quran. Now, of the book itself, as well as others, it confirms. So the Quran is a confirmation of what was before it as well, like the Torah, the Injil, the Zabur, and so on, right? Via the theme of the guidance it entails, it is one of a kind, which is why I decided to present the Great Quran in a comprehensive manner, where these modern day translators and the modern day translations we have, it will make it easy for people to approach in both as a beginner and an academic level. Now, some keynotes before I explain why I chose the Hafs version. Number one, this standard of criteria I set forth is to help every person, whether Christian, Jew, Muslim, whoever you are, in order to approach the Quran with sincerity and purity to grasp the message thereof. Now, read the book thoroughly. That is number one. Just as God told the Prophet, alayhi salam, "Sanuquruka fala tansa illa ma sha Allah." This is very, very essential. And this is very essential and very important. Read the book thoroughly. Why do I say this? Make sure you have a good understanding of the book's main ideas, themes, and arguments. Number two, identify the main points of the book. Make a list of the most important points that you want to study from the Quran. Remember, even though the Quran is to serve as a guidance for mankind, you as an entity are not supposed to follow everything you see in the Quran. Some things are not meant for you. We have messages in the Quran which are meant for kafirun. We have messages in the Quran which are meant for mu'minun. We have messages in the Quran which is only solely to the devil, shaitan. We have messages in the Quran which is only attributed to the jinns and not you. So make a list of the most important points that you want to study from the Quran. Based on Quran chapter 6, verse 155, as God told us, he has revealed a blessed book that we have to follow it so that we may attain mercy. Now, when you go further, chapter 6, verse 155 up to 157, it tells you studying the book is very important. Now, the third option is organize your thoughts. Whilst you are approaching the Quran, one must organize his or her own thoughts. Organize your main points into a logical order, reasonable order. Using rationality is an essential part to approaching the Quran. So a logical order that will make sense to your audience, because you're the one taking guidance from the Quran. Remember, you'll be approaching people with it. And that is an essential part. So just as God says in Quran chapter 41, verse 33, Surah Al-Fussilat, where he says, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, which means, and who is better in speech than one who invites to Allah and acts righteous and says, indeed, I am of the what? Submitters. Now, another essential part I want people to understand is, whilst approaching the Quran, if your thoughts are not organized, you mess up the theme of the Quran. If you don't identify the main points you want to approach in the Quran, you mess up every understanding thereof. If you don't read the book thoroughly and just skim through it, you're wasting your time. Now, the fourth option is write a clear and concise summary about the book, which is the Quran. Use clear and concise language that you understand, be it English, be it Hausa, be it Arabic. If you are an Arabic speaker, if you are an English speaker, if you are Chinese, just use a clear and concise language to summarize the main points of the Quran. Whether you do it file by file, that will help you to note down the topics or the themes that you want to address or approach. As inspired by Quran chapter 14, verse 4, where God says he does not send a messenger except in the language of his people in order to clarify for them. And also he told the prophet in Quran chapter 44, verse 58, that he has made it easy in his tongue or language. So that is an essential part. Then the last option, which is number 5, is whatever thing you have made as a summary and arrange as a file, edit and revise. Review your summary to make sure it accurately reflects the main ideas of the Quran, and it is free from errors and contradictions. Just as God says in Quran chapter 4, verse 82, he says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجِدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. So had it been from other than God, they would have found therein numerous contradictions, or we can say discrepancies. So this Quran that we are here for, it is a book which cannot be invented by other than God. However, it is a what? A confirmation of what was before it and an elaboration of the book, Tafsil al-Kitab, which has no doubt therein. So people who approach our translations must put all these things into thought before approaching any given translation you might come across. Now, the last by the least is to talk about why I chose the Hafs version. Now, when you go, there is a major difference between Hafs and Warsh, for instance, because these are the two most popular. We have other ones like Al-Duri and so on. But when you take Hafs and Warsh, which is the two most popular, recitations of the Quran is the pronunciation of what? The words you find in the Quran. The Qurans, these two Qurans have different diacritic marks known as tashkil. And in some cases, pronouncing the word differently could imply different meaning, as the Arabic learners and people are acquainted with this will tell you. Here are some of the examples. Now, when you take, for instance, the Malik, we have Malik and we have Malik. When you take Malik Yawmiddin, you find it in the Warsh version. When you take Malik Yawmiddin, you have it in the Hafs version. Now, one means the king and one means the possessor or the holder or the keeper. There is a difference. Even though they might say the same roots, but there is a difference in this. Then we have words like yakzibun, which you find in the Hafs version. Then you have yukazibun, which you find in the Warsh version. For instance, chapter 2, verse 10. Then you have qatal. This qatal in Hafs version. Then you have what? Kutila in what? Warsh version. which is found in Quran chapter 3, verse 146. Then you have Sihirani. This Sihirani means two sorcerers or two magicians, right? Or magicians. Chapter 28, verse 48. This is in the Hafs version. Then you have Sahiran. Sahiran. So this Sahiran, we are talking about the same magicians, two magicians, but you see this is coming from the Warsh version. So these are the things you have to draw in contrast in order to approach the Quran by using precise thought and conscience to know which one gives you the understanding of the Quran as God wants you to understand. So right now, I'm not in the position to tell you Hafs is wrong or Warsh is wrong, or this is right, or this is wrong. We are here to see the amazement of the Quran, and this is my presentation. Thank you all.